Welcome everyone. This is Amy Shine here. Welcome to my 90-day experiment out of pressure and into pleasure. This is week 5. If you've been joining along in this series, welcome back. If you're just hearing this video for the first time, welcome. This is an experiment that I have been really playing with for the last 2 years, but in the last 3 months, I've given myself these 90 days, this 3-month period to really test and create evidence for my brain that money, creation, business, life can be created from pleasure and not pressure, right? So like a lot of us here growing up in this world, we are taught and programmed into working hard for money. We need to hustle, we need to produce, we need to work. We need to constantly be putting pressure on ourselves to perform, to get results, to make money, to get money into our bank account. And I really wanted to change this program, this way of being on a cellular level in my body. And to do that, you also have to change it, the pathway, the synapses that you've created in your brain, right? So when we do things repeatedly, like if every day you get up and you have the same thought, it creates this neural pathway in your brain, and that becomes a habit, right? And then it becomes automatic. So if you have lived primarily your life from pressure and from force, it's just that is your way of being, right? And so to change that, to create a new neural pathway in your brain where money comes from pleasure and business is created with ease and clients show up when you're relaxed, that requires you creating a new neural pathway, but also creating the evidence that supports that, okay? So over the last 3 months, and 2 years really, but it's been a gradual thing. I've been really coming out of this hustle culture, performance, like being validated by numbers and money, and like have to keep creating, keep doing, keep going. And I've been titrating my nervous system to a different way of creating. And before, I used to be able to create a lot from pressure, right? And always have so many different things going on. And it got to a point where it burnt my system out. So in the last 3 months, I've made a very conscious effort to not create anything from this pressure of, I need to make money, I need to make more sales, so I'll create this class, or I'll do this thing here, or I'll take this job, all from this feeling of pressure, right? And what I'm starting to find is that money, business, creation shows up in lots of ways, and that the universe provides for me. Spirit, God, source, my spirit guides provide for me in so many different ways. And the more I acknowledge that, the more I'm grateful for that, the more I feed that reality, the more that shows up. And I know that a lot of us have this program, this point of view, this neural pathway that we have to work in order to have money, right? We have to perform in order to have money. And if we look at money, money can show up in lots of ways. So I look at how this year I've been back in Ireland, right? And I'm living in this beautiful house. My parents have this house that I grew up in. It's in nature. It's right next to a golf course. There's trees everywhere. Here, I'll show you the trees out my window, right? And there's so much space out here, and I don't have to pay rent here. And when I was living in Florida, I was having to pay insane amount of rent to live by myself, and it was putting this pressure on me, right? And now I didn't plan on coming back here and living here for this length of time. It just, life unfolded that way. And what I'm looking at is, wow, like here's one way I'm provided for, right? This is a way of money showing up, not in my bank account, but in supporting me, in that the universe is like, okay, you can't function this way with pressure and force anymore. So we're going to remove this from your life, but we're going to support you this way. Here's a home you can live in. Here's support from your family. Oh, my mother is like, here, you can drive my Jeep while you're here. And she insured me in her Jeep. My boyfriend was like, you can be insured in my car. Like, I have a boyfriend in Ireland now. So like, there's all these things that I'm being provided for and showing up that aren't necessarily me having to go out and produce and work for it. And so this is again where like getting your brain to acknowledge all the ways that you are being provided for, that things are happening for you, not from force, from ease, from pleasure. Just recently I was on holidays with my boyfriend and we were laying on the beach, and I got a message from a client I had from a couple of years ago. We hadn't connected for a while, and she reached out to me about booking a session. There I am, laying on the beach in Portugal, staying in this beautiful resort that my boyfriend took me to. He paid for the trip. So here I am, I'm being provided for, right? I might not be out in the world producing and working and doing all these things like I used to, but I'm still being provided for. I'm still being supported in so many different ways. It's just not as linear as I need to go out and work, and that's the only way that I can be provided for. And this is what I wanted to change in the 90 days. The point of view that I always have to be the one doing it all. I always have to be the one outputting effort. I always have to be working. I always have to be creating something. And looking at, wow, there's so many ways to receive. There's so many ways to allow yourself to be supported. And the more you acknowledge the ways you're being supported, because again, or collect the evidence, right? Because I could be on the beach in Portugal thinking, oh, I'm doing really bad in my business and I'm not making any money, and I could come up with all the reasons of where things are not working, and then I'll create more of that neural pathway. Or I could lay on the beach and look at, wow, my boyfriend brought me here. He paid for this trip. He paid for this incredible, like beautiful 5-star resort. He's taking care of me. I am here receiving. This is all money. This is all wealth. This is all pleasure. And the more and more I acknowledge that, the more and more that neural pathway gets created, the evidence that life is created from pleasure. Everything is created from pleasure. Everything comes from pleasure, and that you actually don't have to use force to create your life. And so also, like the example of, I could look at, oh my God, I'm at home living with my parents, as like, what are you doing with your life? And there's something wrong with you. Or I could look at it as, wow, I'm being so supported. It's providing a place for me that is safe, where I can heal. I'm in nature. And it's like acknowledging what you are creating, acknowledging what you are receiving, and really putting your energy there, because you know how powerful your thoughts are. You know that you're a creator of your reality, and you know what you feed your mind is what you create more of. And you want to change those neural pathways. You want to create the pathway where your mind is giving, your brain is giving the message to your body that it's safe to relax, that it's safe to have fun, that it's safe to go have pleasure, that pleasure is allowed, that when you have pleasure and you go and you lay out in the sun, or you go walk, or you go on the holiday, that your life isn't going to fall apart, right? But when you've lived your life from a very dysregulated nervous system, where you're in a lot of fight or flight, you've always had to have so many things going on, you always had to be the one working, you always had to be the breadwinner, you always had to make sure you made the money, because who else is going to take care of you? When you function from that way of being, it doesn't feel safe to relax. It doesn't feel safe to have pleasure. And maybe you allow yourself to have a little bit of pleasure, but then you need to go back to working hard, right? And so that's why I've created the 90 days for myself, because it's like, I want to give me enough time to really put this to test. Like, how much am I really willing to relax? How much am I really willing to create from pleasure and not go back into this old way of pressure and force? And so these are just a few examples of how I've been working with rewiring those neural pathways in my brain, getting my nervous system regulated to increase my capacity to receive more pleasure, to allow myself to receive more, to increase my capacity to have more of life be created from this energy of pleasure. Okay, that is it for today. I will be back probably next week to talk more about this journey in creating from pleasure and out of pressure. If you have any questions, pop them below in the chat. If you have any comments, if you're enjoying this video and you're watching it on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. If you're in my Facebook group or my Telegram group, I'd love to hear from you. How are you finding this? How are you finding this journey in your own life with creating from pleasure? And if you've any questions about anything I mentioned, like nervous system regulation, about rewiring your brain, about creating safety in your body, please comment or send me a message and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Okay, I'm off to my sister's house this evening to have dinner and some drinks, and then tomorrow we're going to the beach. We're going to do a sauna and swim. We're going to swim in the freezing Irish Ocean, but we have to do sauna with it because otherwise it's just too cold. And again, it's just like really allowing myself to have these experiences, to go enjoy being with my sister, to spend time with her, to have these beautiful connections and be at ease in your body when you have these. You're like going out for dinner, you're having a weekend, and allowing your brain to relax, giving the message to your body that it's safe to relax and that you don't have to be on all the time, constantly working, doing, creating, busyness, and that it's actually safe, it's ease, and it's allowed to drop out of your mind, to be in your body, and to have these pleasurable experiences with families, with friends, with partners, and to really enjoy living, because that's what we're here for, right? Okay, bye for now.